10-1 and a very husky voice to start the stream. The Philadelphia Eagles are 10-1 after beating the Buffalo Bills. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't sexy, but we can apply that comment to just about every game the Eagles have played this season. What a chaotic roller coaster that was from top to bottom. There was noise and uncertainty and offensive problems and setbacks, and then it flipped on its head. And when all was said and done, the man who separated himself from the pack, Jalen Hurts, with a huge 12-yard rushing touchdown on the back of a Jason Kelce block, which in itself was a redemption factor because he'd given up some penalties in the plays that preceded it. It was just a truly great football game. It was a better watch as a neutral than the Chiefs one, I think, for sure. It was probably more stressful as an out-and-out Eagles fan, but there's a lot to dissect with this game. And a lot of it, I guess, intertwines with the recent rumor mill that's been spinning. Obviously, Frank Reich was fired today by Carolina. I think he set an NFL record for the first coach to be fired in back-to-back seasons or something like that as a first-time head coach. He also will be joined by Deuce Staley, obviously a pioneer of the Philadelphia Eagles run game, someone that has been around that team for the best part of like 15 years. So there is some potential discussions to be had. If Brian Johnson had called a better game, if he'd coordinated a more exciting offense or a more sustainable, forget the word exciting for now, just a more sustainable offense, then maybe we could leave the Frank Reich discussions. Maybe we could leave the Deuce Staley discussions because there's no need for them because the offense had been growing. But looking at the way the Eagles won and looking at what was left out there on the bone, it would not surprise me to see some speculation ramp up. So we'll certainly get into that as the episode goes on. If you are just joining us, obviously, welcome. I hope you had a fantastic weekend and enjoyed a Philadelphia Eagles win. If you could let us know in the chat, say hello. Leave a like if you're enjoying the content and want to see some more of it. Of course, this show goes live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. religiously. So we'll be back here on Wednesday at the earliest to go back over all the latest in the world of the Philadelphia Eagles. Isaac says, if I ever die, bury me in a Hurts jersey because I might just come back. It was a great game. It was a statement win from Jalen Hurts. I think it was a statement half from Jalen Hurts. Like to go into halftime having completed, 4 of 11 passes for like 34 yards and a pick, I think, off the top of my head. Come out in that second half and pretty much like spearhead the Eagles all-out assault. The throw to Olamide Zaccheaus was absolutely sensational. There's no two ways around it. It was a gorgeous pass. Fantastic awareness from Zaccheaus. An adaptation to the quarterback to see where that ball is, to track it in the end zone, come off his assignment and Hurts stuck it where only he could reach it. But you had the touchdown pass to Smitty, you had the touchdown pass to AJ. Hurts was dealing. There were some design run plays in there. The running game itself decided to pick up as time went on. But that second half from Jalen Hurts was very much a statement game. My worry is, I don't know like how many more times the Eagles are gonna go down by 10 and keep coming back. It'd be nice it just one time. Can we just have one game where they go up by 10 and then keep the lead and then it's never a stress? Yeah, like it's fantastic that they can go down 10 every single time and come back and win the game. But can we just have one week? One week is all I ask, where the Eagles maybe don't punch themselves in the face. It's like someone put it best in my Twitter replies. It's like stamping on a rake that's on the floor over and over and over and over and over again, and then going, "Oh, I can walk around it. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're good enough to do." So that's how it felt. So there's definitely some kinks still to be ironed out with this Eagles offense. But again, doesn't matter if you win pretty, ugly. I would much rather win ugly than lose prettily, if that makes sense. I'd rather win and it be awful than lose and it be lovely and sexy football and almost but not quite over the line. Isaac's right. It was a fantastic game. I think, to me, the Chiefs game was better, a rounded out like performance from Jalen Hurts. I think the narrative of the Bills game, the way they went down by 10, there was a lot of help. Obviously, I think the first drive spoke volumes. You're talking about an offense that came into that game without Lane Johnson, franchise right tackle, and you're going up against someone, an edge rusher that had 4 sacks on the year coming into that game. A Bills defense, that ranked second in the league in sacks. And you just knew they were going to throw the kitchen sink. You knew they were going to throw everything they had at a quarterback that had been dealing with a leg injury, at a tackle that was about, like, Jack Driscoll isn't great, let's be honest. And the first 3 plays were like super long developing post route bollocks that should never have been called. There is no way. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you love me. But I don't care how many years you've had in the NFL as a coach. Or if you're just watching it for the first time, you do not see an offensive line that loses its key right tackle, one of the best in football, and go, yeah, to combat that, we're going to make 3 basically vertical passes from Madden. We're just going to send everyone deep. First 3 plays in a row. Hurts is running around. He's being battered. He's being sacked. There's incompletions. He doesn't know what he's doing. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So to go from that and then being unable to sustain anything into halftime, having completed 4 of 11 passes for 34 yards, and come out like a bull having seen a red flag and just go full charging at it and slice up that Bills defense, get guys like Olamide Zaccheaus involved, find AJ Brown in the back of the end zone wide open, have some fantastic plays to Devontae Smith. He drove that team. And then into overtime, the only complaint I had really outside of that first few drives was the fact that realistically, they shouldn't have left Jake Elliott like 60 yards to kick a field goal. Like that was a poorly orchestrated, like 3 or 4 downs in a row where you knew you had about 13 yards to a goal line, and there are terrible penalties, and then you end up throwing like dump passes and check downs, and it's like, fair enough. Like, I understand trusting in Jake Elliott. I mean, the guy is a generational talent. He might well be a Hall of Famer. If not, he certainly will be. But he can't hit fine. But then when they got to overtime, obviously Hurts ascends to another level. There is just a clutch gene that he has, the it factor, the him factor, whatever you want to call it, that some people have that others just don't. And the difference between Hurts in that first half and Hurts in that second half was night and day. And that's what MVPs do. That's what elite quarterbacks do. That you're going to have stinkers. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have tough days at the office. But can you find a way to find that extra level? Can you find a way to dig deep? Look at Tom Brady in that Super Bowl against Atlanta, down 28-3 at halftime. How many times has Aaron Rodgers been against the rule? How many times did you see guys like Big Ben? I hate to bring him up, but Drew Brees, another one, where they're down 10, 14, 17 points, and through just relentless will to win, drive their quarterbacks to victory. There aren't many in the NFL that can do it. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, we've seen. Aaron Rodgers is another. How many more would you categorically want, ball in hand, having driven your team back, than Jalen Hurts? There aren't many. The guy is on a different planet right now, and he's absolutely my MVP up to this point. We'll get through some of your comments. It's nice to see so many of you in on this lovely Monday evening. The Philadelphia Eagles 10-1, of course, after beating the Buffalo Bills. If you're just joining us, welcome to the chaos, your post-game therapy, or lack thereof today. We don't need a post-game therapy session after a win. But if you want to say hello, drop your post-game comments in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on what we've discussed so far. And if you could leave a like just to support the stream, it does mean that my British voice can annoy more of you, the better. That'd be absolutely amazing. Duck comes in. It says Victory Monday, 10-1. They still think we suck. And that's where the title of the stream comes in, Duck. I will get to it a bit later. I mean, if you're part of the core 12 that watch this stream every week, you know where we're going with it. There is only one team that can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get to it later. But if you've been around long enough, you'll know where I'm going with that comment. K1's in. Ahoy, Captain. I bet you had a tremendous weekend. One can't wait with the Eagles. No way. It could never be done. MVP chance from Greg. CM Punk returns again. Have I got the shirt on today? I can't remember. I think I do. Hang on. I think I've got the British one, like when they went to Wembley, because I'm a mark. Where are we at? Wait. I can't. Best in the world. I can't show it. The hoodie's a bit tight, but we've got it there. It was. They literally bought it out at Wembley for All In. His last ever match. So I guess you could say it's limited edition now, somewhat. And now he's going to have the old logo back, which was way better, and I want that. So I'm sure I'll be there. But If anyone does care about wrestling with CM Punk, I did write an article about it on PSN about my, I guess, personal complicated relationship with CM Punk and why the returns and that matter so much. So if you are interested, that's on the site. We were facing a top 10 defensive end, defensive tackle off outside linebacker with Driscoll. He was slaughtered in the first quarter. That's a good point. Things definitely improved. And I think there was a lot more pinning and pulling. There was a lot more action from guys like Jason Kelsey coming outside. There was a lot more usage of the tight ends coming across the line of scrimmage, even motion with the wide receivers. And I think a lot of that was to combat Jack Driscoll. The fact of the matter is, it shouldn't have taken like 1.5 quarters to realize maybe you need some help. Maybe you can do a little hand or two. At the end of the day, it worked. And they did figure it out. And the Eagles did come through and win that game. It was a fantastic second half performance from the Eagles. I think Driscoll was very much silent in that second half. He couldn't put a foot wrong. I don't think he came up once when watching the game. I wasn't drawn. The first drive, he couldn't stop staring at him. The second quarter and on, invisible, which is what you want. Like, the only times you ever really realize offensive linemen are if they do something incredible or they're being bullied and pancaked and just flattened and, so to have him just disappear softly and all your attention diverted to DeAndre Swift or Kenny Gainwell, who surprisingly had a fairly productive day at the office. He's had a tough old gig, Kenny Gainwell, this year. Whether that's through his own doing or because he can't stop texting fans at halftime, I don't know. But it was nice to see him really start to get some momentum, I think, there. Boston Scott as well. I don't know where that came from. There are guys out there that are beginning to just settle in here. It was nice to see some diversity. Like, the Eagles were clearly struggling through the air. We said before the game, look, I mean, we can flash his graphic back up, but we said before the game, the Eagles would have an advantage running the ball purely because comments blocking it. Sorry, Duck, I have to move you there, buddy. The Bills ranked 16th in run defense. The Eagles had the 8th rushing offense, but realistically, it was always much, much better when Cam Jurgens was back at right guard. So you're looking at a scenario now where Philadelphia could cause some damage and they could just take advantage of an average defense. They didn't have to world beaters. They didn't need 130 yards on the ground. They just needed to do enough to get them by, to split them open, to turn a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd and 3. That's the difference. They're not asking for miracles. And I think all the running backs, and Hurts himself as a diverse quarterback, certainly delivered when all was said and done there. I got some new comments in. Jabari Brown, a man from Facebook. Look at that, our first Facebook commenter of the day. Nice to see you, Jabari. Go Birds. Hope all is well. Maz Mohammed says, with Jalen, the Eagles will have a chance to win any game. Or if they have a brother who's dating Taylor Swift. All that is true. But I will tell you this, the real love story this weekend was Jalen Hurts getting down 10 points, coming back and winning. As we all know, he is now the NFL record holder for the most consecutive wins when his team is down by 10 points. That record is extended to 8. But yeah, as Isaac said, we alluded to it earlier in the show, there aren't many quarterbacks when you are down 10, you are down 15, you are down 20, where the game feels within reach. I mean, crying out loud, how many times under Carson Wentz did the Eagles go down by... Is that a police car? Hope not. Maybe they're coming after the plushie controller, The real ones remember. The real ones. Someone's tipped them off, haven't they? That's what's happened there. But is it a police car? Sorry, I keep seeing like blue flashing lights outside my window. But yeah, there aren't many quarterbacks outside of like Mahomes. Burrow's done it. Allen's too erratic. I wouldn't trust him. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but we haven't seen him since coming back from injury. Jalen is just a different kettle of fish right now. He is a different level to those around him. And I think that has to be highly praised. There's a reason. Look, I think last week after he beat Patrick Mahomes, the guy that won the MVP award last year, bear in mind, his odds to win MVP dropped from 280 to 250. So like what? 30, a 0.3 drop, not much, nothing to write home about. Beating Josh Allen and the Bills, they got cut in half. It's now 1-2-5 to win. They got sliced in half. Jalen Hurts is now the overwhelming favorite to win MVP. And I think it's not because of the wins. It's not because he's beaten the Cowboys and the Dolphins and the Bills and the Chiefs. I think it is because it's the way he's doing it. Because he is having his back to the wall. And he is just bullying his way back through. You think you silence this Eagles team. You think you shut them out. You think you bury them. 10, 15 points at the half. You clap your hands of all the dirt. You walk into the locker room. You start playing some songs. And you have a nice Gatorade and go back out. You don't account for a quarterback being able to rally an entire team and come back and really be a viable win candidate. If we're being honest, I don't really think there's been a game this season that's felt out of reach at any point. And that's a scary thought when you're talking about being down double digits to teams like the Cowboys, to teams like the Bills and the Chiefs. Like, these aren't average teams. This isn't like, oh, it's the Browns and like, these are elite teams that the Eagles have gone down 10 to and pulled themselves out of a gutter. It is rare to find a quarterback who can be that efficient, that can be that reliable, that won't throw in the towel when his back's against the wall. And it has to be just you cannot praise it enough. In the same vein, it's also okay to accept the fact he stank for a quarter and a half. He was pretty poor out there. But the way he rebounded back is what makes him an MVP. Good quarterbacks fold. Good quarterbacks have a bad day, done, write off, game's done, go home, come back next week. Great quarterbacks find a way back into that game and get their team in a position to win. And that is exactly what Jalen Hurts has been doing. Sean Webb, he spoiled it. He spoiled the whole show. I was going to wait for like a half-hour mark to get into this point. Sean, you're banned. That is I'm joking. The only team that can beat us is us. He's ruined the title, but he's absolutely bang on. I don't think there's a team in football that can beat the Eagles. The only team that can beat the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023 is the Philadelphia Eagles. They have beat the best the AFC has to offer. Okay? The Dolphins couldn't do it. The Bills couldn't do it. The Chiefs couldn't do it. The Cowboys couldn't do it. And now you've got the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, they might do it, but they couldn't do it in the championship game last year. And the team is categorically better since the championship game last year. And there's also the fact that if they do end up facing each other in the championship game, or before, depending on how the seeding falls and what have you, but I'm assuming it will be, it's going to be at the Link. It's going to be in front of a roaring Philadelphia fans. I don't think there's a better home advantage in football than Lincoln Financial Field. So you're going to find yourself with a Niners team, Brock Purdy, who has been vulnerable this year, some offensive miscues here and there. Like, I'm not scared of the Niners. I really thought that the games they would lose in the gauntlet were going to be Dallas, maybe. That I was more scared of Dallas than the Niners, and the Chiefs. They were potentially the two. Until last week, during like the shows that preceded last week, when we were examining the Chiefs receivers, and we could all attest to the fact that they were just Shelton Gibson on steroids, as the saying now goes. I wasn't fearing them. You get to the Bills, I was a bit more scared because they had a more complete roster. As Duck said, that they're a very complete defense. They're a fantastically coached defense. Offense, Khalil Shakir's had a nice breakout. Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. You've got guys like Gabe Davis there. I mean, Dalton Kincaid's had a good season. Devin Singletary is a brilliant running back. You're always going to be fearful of a team with that much talent, but the Eagles just seem to do it a bit better. So I really do think the only team that can beat the Philadelphia Eagles is the Philadelphia Eagles. And that will not happen so long as Jalen Hurts refuses to let that happen. It's a simple fact of life. There is death, there is taxes, and there is Jalen Hurts finding a way to push himself back into situations when he should be down and out. That's the difference between an elite team and a great team. There is only one team who can beat the Eagles this season. There's two types of people in this world, Dragonfly. There's two types of people. Moving on. Moving on. No official word for the Eagles. Yeah, all right. So let's touch on Lane Johnson for a second. There were two injury updates to come on Monday. The first one being that Dallas Goedert should be able to play against San Francisco. So a huge get for the Eagles. Obviously, they've been without him for a couple of weeks. Jack Stoller's been the man filling the gap for now. Amicably, been doing all right. Nothing to write home about. Albert O, vibing, probably. I haven't really noticed him. You're now going to look at a point where Dallas Goedert comes back into an offense where, if Lane does have to miss time, you've got a tight end that is arguably one of the best run blockers in the NFL. That would be a huge get. Not only that, There was an update on Lane Johnson's MRI that it was, I think, a groin sprain. It's day to day, whatever the injury is. He underwent treatment, so there's that. I guess so. He should be back. I'd like to say should be being the operative word. There's no guarantee, but it's certainly looking promising that Lane Johnson will be back for the game against the Niners. Touch on his injury. There are a lot of sexual jokes out there. Okay, saying that he injured his groin before the game. What was he up to? Now, I don't want to speak for everyone, and I'm sure there is someone out there that has had an unfortunate groin injury during the good time, but I can't think of a time I've ever injured my groin during fellatio for the PG audience out there. I mean, my groin, I injure during golf occasionally. Sometimes, I don't know, I'll be walking and I'm like, and it hurts. I'm never during that. That's quite a hip motion. If it was a hip flexor, I don't know, there isn't much you can do, I feel, to injure yourself during that. So we need some better jokes out there next time from the groin brigade that was out there adamant it was from the sexy stuff. Can't imagine doing it during then. And also, imagine Lane Johnson doing that. He certainly isn't doing a groin. He's too strong, and I don't want to. Let's move on. Before we all end up imagining Lane Johnson in some 50 Shades of Grey level scenes, which, look, I'm sure is lovely. It's not for me. I'll level with you. But I appreciate anyone that will be into it. You're welcome for the image if you do like it. Our QB doesn't die. The only way we lose if a team goes up by 3 touchdowns at half. Even then, I don't think 4 scores, 5 scores, I don't know what it would take. I mean, there's also the element of if they're down like 4 scores, the other team is going to have to keep its foot on the gas because the Eagles just will not go away. I think if you go down by like 4 scores, it then becomes more of a defensive issue, and it becomes more of, okay, no matter what Jalen Hurts does, the defense has got to suss stuff out. Luckily for the Eagles, they've got one of the finest defensive minds in football in Sean Desai, who just continues to shock the world with his halftime adjustments and push. Someone like Kevin Byard had a good game. I mean, 2 guys I want to single out. Number 1, Kevin Byard, a couple of really big plays. There was one, I want to say it was 3rd and 7, second quarter. I couldn't tell you which drive, but it was a screen, and Kevin Byard blew it up like a freight train. And it was a crucial 4th down that they gave the Eagles. I think it might have even been after the Hurts turnover. And it might have been, that might have been the one. But I really do think that, yeah, it was a great play by Kevin Byard. It was something that has been a long time coming. We've alluded to it in this show in the past that it takes time for players to settle in after moving to a new team. Bradley Roby had a couple of nice moments out there. And James Bradbury, someone that had been clowned on for this entire year for being maybe a step below what he was, for struggling at times, had a great day. Had a really good day. I mean, obviously that interception was huge, but just what a great bounce back that was to see him against a great tandem in Shakira, and obviously Stephon Diggs, to bounce back the way he did with that interception. Huge. I think he needed that. It'll do wonders for his confidence. And considering who we've got up next, which is another dynamic offense, one that is going to test the decision making, the split-second instincts of these defenders. I want to say, who else are we saying? Sorry, I want to say, I forgot the name. Sorry, Zach Cunningham. I was reading the comments. Obviously, Zach Cunningham, the linebackers. That's where I think they're going to struggle against San Francisco, and that's where they might get. I mean, Christian Ellis, for crying out loud. I don't know what happened on that Gabe Davis touchdown, but I got shades of Nate Gary, and they are not good shades. They are not 50 Shades of Grey. It's 50 Shades of Piss. It was absolutely horrendous. I never want to see that play again in my life. That's got to be fixed, because when you've got guys like Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, who will be trying to tear it up over the middle, you can't be doing that, Christian. You can't be doing that, Mr. Ellis. Let's sort that one out, Shuey. Let's get back to the drawing board and see if we can fix something up here. So let's figure that out for San Fran. But even so, they'll be in a good spot. We're missing Milton Williams now, and Cunningham is hurt. I didn't see Cunningham. That's a quibble. I know Williams was certainly missed. I think he's had a really good year quietly. So it's been good to see him kind of blow up, but hopefully he can be back next game. The team's easy, one of the best ever at adjusting at the half after last season, where it just folded up 10. Yeah, there's definitely been a step forward. I think the only way to word it is just that it's just learning. like, it's a team that is open to learning. Like, if you look at, again, the way they were losing, the few games they did lose last year, the way games played out last year, there was a lot more room for criticism, I think, across the board. Like, it now just feels there is an intrinsic confidence in the coaching staff that everything's going to be like just working out. Like, you trust in the coaching staff, you trust in your assignments, and you execute. No game's out of reach. And that's a rare thing to find with any NFL team. Like, I don't want in Philadelphia. That whole groin take was off the rails. Yeah, literally. I've never seen anyone injure a groin. Like I said, I won't go over it too much. I'm sure we've got a few younger people in here, but I've never seen anyone injure their groin on a Saturday night with their girlfriend, is all I'm saying. Okay, I've heard some horror stories of other body parts injured, but not a groin. I'm injury-free, touch wood, in that regard. We're going all right over it. You know, I'm a peak athlete, some would say. Entering his prime years at the age of 28. Anyone else do that, by the way? Not in the bedroom, just in general. Just compare yourself to athletes, like, in life. So when you're playing Madden or you're playing Football Manager or whatever, like MLB The Show, whatever it is, and you're looking at players to sign, you go for like 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Yeah, they're young, they'll develop, they're super young. As soon as a player gets near 30, you start letting them go. They get over the hump. They're losing a step. You've got to get rid of them. And I'm now 28, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm like 2 years away from cutting myself off a team, from I would be firing myself off of a virtual team. That would give me an identity crisis more than anything else. Cheerio in the chat, it's your birthday, boy. Is it? My birthday's April. What am I missing there? It's my birthday, boy. It's your birthday, boy. Oh, is it? It might be your birthday. Is it your birthday? I might not have read that properly. Is it your birthday? Right, it's his birthday. Okay, it's Eric's birthday. And at the end of the stream, we'll wish him out. We'll give him a full-on happy birthday song. How about that as an apology? I will sing it in my finest voice. The best player of the game. I think the best player of the game was the Olamide Zaccheaus reception. The touchdown. That nothing will come close to that. I think that was absolutely brilliant. So if I'm missing one, you've got to let me know. Let's have a look. What else have you guys said? Maz says, what's the key to stopping Brock Purdy? It's a tricky one because he's very much protected in a system that is built for yak players that will just rip stuff up over the middle. Someone like Ayuk, someone like Samuel, someone like McCaffrey, someone like Kittle are just so good at what they do. He could throw 2-yard dumps all game and they'd still probably put up 3 touchdowns. So you've got to find, I think, taking away the run, first and foremost. Let McCaffrey do whatever he wants as a receiver. Trust that guys like Kevin Byard will be able to keep up laterally and stop him and isolate those screens. I think, secondly, is do what this exact same approach did against Mahomes. You're not going to win that game against San Fran by just lobbing pressure. You're not going to win that game by just throwing blitzes and constant, just all-out attack on Brock Purdy. Because you're going to leave the middle of the field open. And it's the middle of the field, again, that is going to be exploited by George Kittle, some fantastic receivers, Christian McCaffrey. You've got to just turn up the temperature a bit. And I used this analogy before the Chiefs game. Like, if you're in a building and a fire alarm goes off, your instinct is, oh my God, shit, get out, run. Oh my God, I have to get everything, run, escape. An instinct set in. And some people are more instinctive than others. And if you're an NFL quarterback, Mahomes is just so happens to be one of the most improvisational quarterbacks in football. He can get out, he can throw the ball away, he can find open receivers, throw it across his body. Unbelievable range of motion. Like, nothing is out of reach for him to angle a ball through to make a completion. However, if you just gradually turn the temperature up in someone's house, let's say you put the temperature, look, I don't know the American temperatures, I'm English, but let's say you put it at like 60 degrees. So the temperature was 50, you put it to 60, then 65, then 70, and you just feel this sense of sweating, frustration. It's getting too much. I've got to get it out, but it's not hot enough. Like, that overwhelmedness, like, you have to climb the pocket, climb into the heat where there's pressure, your vision gets limited. That's where they'll beat Brock Purdy. They're going to carve stuff up underneath all game. The Eagles have one of the most bleeding secondaries in the league. They're like 28th at the minute, and that won't change. They're going to allow a lot of yards. They're going to allow a lot of underneath stuff. Do not overcompensate and just throw all out attack because they will rip it up. You've got to just stay back and allow that pressure and just try and like cajole them, just try and like lure them in, try and bait them in to go in deeper so that it gives the pass rush time to ramp up that pressure and force a bad decision. That is, I think, how they'll beat Brock Purdy. Or put him all that. Put him in on his ass repeatedly. Blitz the whole first quarter. That way Purdy can take the night off and McCaffrey can get a second crack at quarterback. Look, or that one. That works as well. I love that. Let's get that in there. During prime Fortnite, I was prime Nathan Gary. I know, prime Fortnite. I don't know what I'd have probably been the same, to be honest. I couldn't do Fortnite. It got too much for me. I was a PUBG kid. And as soon as like I start, I just shoot someone, and then they just bang, 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 and they've just like yeeted up 18 stories. They've built a mansion with a working bathroom and a pancakes being made. I just stood there like, right, next thing I'm dead. So I couldn't keep up with Fortnite. Zaccheaus has been impressive. I mean, obviously his first touchdown came in his first appearance. His second came in a key spot. Look, I've said this before, I'll say it again. He is exactly what the Eagles wanted Quez Watkins to be. And that's not an insult to Quez, and it's not an overly great compliment to Zaccheaus. But you expect Quez Watkins to develop, and he didn't. And the next evolution of that development is Zaccheaus. Now, beyond that, you are looking at those speedier slot receivers. You're looking at guys that can cross-train outside. Khalil Shakir is probably the best example of it, really. As a young receiver that's just getting better, finding his stride, and can hurt defenses in multiple ways. Zaccheaus is right now someone that's quick, that has a fantastic catch radius, can pluck the ball out, and can open things up. That's what you want. But he's a more reliable pair of hands than Quez ever could be. And while it's lovely that Quez is coming back, rather he didn't. Rather he could just stay on the bench, give him like Scrabble or something. Just tell him to do a crossword. Get him a PlayStation Portal. Get him one of them. Just give him something to distract him, because he'd probably drop it. Don't give him a PlayStation Portal. He would probably... Look, we're going to stop the Quez slander, all right? We're better than that. But all I'm saying is I think Zaccheaus has been able to provide that spark. When you've got AJ and Devontae and they're drawing attention, you need something else, especially with Dallas Goedert out. You've got your starting tight end down. You need something, and Zaccheaus provided that in a euphoric way. It was really impressive. Yes, forgot about that one. That would be the play you're referencing. That would make sense. No water today, boys. We're on apple and blackcurrant. For those that really... We lost 3 viewers doing that. Look, people really don't like the drinking, but what can you do? But yeah, no, Jake Elliott's play. I mean, I want to do Wednesday's show to focus on Jake Elliott, because Corey Nido, one of our writers at PSN, he might be in the chat. Sometimes he lurks and just says hello occasionally. Did a brilliant article earlier today comparing David Akers and Jake Elliott, and whether he's already surpassed David Akers. Maybe that's coming. But I want to take those stats, put up a lovely, sexy graphic, and I want to focus that on Wednesday's show, because we've all been very much for trying to give Jake Elliott his flowers this season, because it's not the first time he's come up with a big play. Not even the first time he's come up with a big, long play this year. It certainly won't be the last. So I want to spend, not a show, but like a chunk of a show, giving him those flowers and understanding just how good he is. The problem with greatness, and we've said this a million times before, is you take it for granted. It becomes so normalized that great is great, that becomes the norm. So anything less than great, you start being frustrated at, you start complaining, you start whining, you start saying someone's fallen off. Happened with Tom Brady. And look, I'm not a Tom Brady guy. I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan in the world, but I love greatness. Whether it's Tiger Woods, whether it's Tom Brady, someone like LeBron doing what he's doing now, shooting some of the best numbers that he is, despite playing like the least minutes at the age he is. Like, eventually, when those people go, all of those tired sports debates, you'll be, that's a shame. And you go and talk to your friends, and you go and talk to your kids, and they are the players you'll tell them about. So Jake Elliott, in my opinion, in his short Eagles tenure, to go from where he was when he was signed to where he is now, as someone that is just almost automatic from like 58 yards, that's come up with some of the biggest clutch kicks in Eagles history, all in his tenure. I think he's above David Akers already. If not, he is certainly on that trajectory, and we'll discuss that on Wednesday. But the problem with Jake Elliott is that he's so good, so consistently, that it does get taken for granted. And it's just, oh, wow, yeah, great kick. Wow, Jake Elliott's done it again anyway. And you move on. But he's so relentlessly good and so unbelievably reliable that the Eagles can monumentally see a drive go tits up in the biggest moment of the game, and it's assumed that Jake Elliott will kick a 59-yard field goal, and he does. That's greatness. We should all appreciate it while he's here. He's still got a long career left ahead of him, but we want to make sure he's getting those flowers. Every time Zaccheaus steps on the field and makes a play, he takes Watkins' job. Completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. Like I said, I wanted Zaccheaus in the first place. I was absolutely over that. I was buzzing like a horny bumblebee when I heard that he was signed from the Atlanta Falcons on a free, I guess, or as a free agent. It made me so happy to see someone that broke out under Mariota of all quarterbacks to put up the numbers he did, to be a real threat over the middle. It just felt like a natural upgrade over Quez Watkins, and I think that's the difference it makes. It sounds silly, and I don't want to be mean to Quez, but realistically, if you're in that exact same spot yesterday, Quez Watkins doesn't make that adjustment. Quez doesn't run the other way and make himself available and make himself big and haul in a slightly out of reach pass. He just doesn't. Zaccheaus does. That's the difference. And that difference is the difference between winning and losing. And it's what really counts in the NFL. So I'm glad that Zaccheaus is on this team. Where we go? The boiling frog analogy works for Frenchmen. Is that what it is? Is there an actual analogy about this? I had no idea. Right, hang on. Right, we're going to have to pivot a minute because I had no idea. I need a tab, don't I? Bear with me. Was it a slow boiling frog? I've never heard of this. I thought I was onto a real revelation. Slow boiling frog. Boiling frog is an apologue describing a frog being slowly boiled alive. The premise is that if a frog is suddenly put into boiling water, it will jump out. But if the frog is put into tepid water, which is then brought to a boil slowly, it will not perceive the danger and will be cooked to death. Fuck's sake, excuse my French. I thought I was onto something there. I thought I was onto an absolute worldy of an analogy. I was like, oh, we're going to be clipping this all over the world. It's going to go on TikTok, Instagram. I've nailed that. That's why I run it back 2 shows in a row. Turns out it does exist. About a frog, of all things. Boil it alive. Don't care anyway. No one even likes frogs. Bloody frogs. I'm joking. Convinced Liam's raging. Convinced Liam's raging American is trapped in a Brett's body. Pretty much. I was discussing this with my girlfriend earlier. She keeps seeing these TikToks of like New York at Christmas. And we're going to London for Christmas. Got a little break coming up. But, that is it. Yeah, there will be... Hang on. Will there be a break? I don't think I've scheduled this, so that I might miss one show next week. So I go on the 2nd. Yeah, I'll miss the Monday show next week because LJ needs a holiday because he's been working very hard. Nah, it's just a Christmas break. But I'll be away Monday. But yeah, so she was seeing us about New York stuff, and I was like, well, it just so happens with someone that runs a company in America. I'm sure we can work something out to get out there eventually. Thoughts on Justin Herbert? Is he this generation's Phillip Rivers without the children? Probably better looking as well, which is surprising because I think if he's better looking, he'd have more children. But Phillip has... I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. I think he's had a really tough year. I don't think he's going to be in falling out of top 10 conversations anytime soon. I think he's still very much an elite quarterback. It's going to take a year, I think, to kind of see what the Chargers do in the offseason. I mean, for the Chargers, he probably is. It would just be all the Chargers seem to do is find great quarterbacks to hang their hat on and mess everything else up or fall short when it counts. So they have a perfect team, great receivers. They've got a history of great running backs, a history of some dominant defenses, and then they just balls it up in the playoffs or something. Or even this year, it's going to happen before then. So it is what it is. Give Quez a Nintendo Switch and sit him next to BJ. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Realistically, it's probably where BJ's getting his play calls from, isn't it? It is. He's got Madden on the Switch and he's just getting the play calls from there. But there we go. Alas, I'll stop complaining about BJ now. We will quickly talk about Frank Reich in a minute. Hey PSN bros, hit the like. Yes, sir. We're up to a core 20 now. So if you are tuning in, bonjour. What's the other one again? Hola, guten tag. Hello. Hey. So if you're in, we've just dropped to fuming. But if you're just tuning in, you like what you see, if you can leave a like on the stream, it does help us a lot. I mean, our numbers aren't growing. It means we can annoy more people with horrible British Eagles analysis. And then we're going to hit a point where people come back in and be like, oh my God, he's British. He doesn't even know ball. He doesn't know football, man. He doesn't know my Eagles. I do. Watch this, hun. So make sure you leave a like. It'll be great. And if you do enjoy the show, hit subscribe. And again, you can be notified. But in case you don't want to do any of that, just pop in. All right, look. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. I'll see you right here in this very room. Okay? We'll quickly get through the rest of your comments. It depends who it is that got a line. Depends who it is. Depends who it's from. I mean, Lane got his groin hurt. I see what you're saying. Okay. Not that BJ. The one that sucks. Oh, dear. Oh, it's all gone wrong. I wouldn't choose a switch over a BJ. Oh, it's all gone wrong. Boys, you're doing all the hard work for me. You are all doing the hard work for me. I can't believe it. Look, I'm not being funny. That BJ is a very... Look, that story... I was going to go into a story that is a personal anecdote that is just way... all I'm saying is, not every BJ is a good BJ. This isn't one of them, all right? This isn't it. Brian Johnson shares his name with the singer of AC/DC, okay? The same man who sings songs like Highway to Hell. Symbolic, really, when you look at Brian Johnson's career path right now. Thunderstruck, Hell's Bells, some absolute bangers. He would be a more efficient offensive coordinator than the Eagles offensive coordinator. Just switch the BJs around. Switch the Brian Johnsons around. Have BJ on the sideline. CM Punk myself, I've muted the mic. Sorry about that. I got a bit too carried away. And that's better. I think we're back now. But yeah, put the other BJ in. Get the BJ on the sideline that's going, let me lead it, running free. Let Jalen order out the rest of the plays, and it'll be more efficient than what the Eagles have currently. I guarantee it. The singer of AC/DC, who I've met, is a very nice man called Brian Johnson, is a better BJ than this BJ. This is a bad, sloppy, disgraceful BJ. And look, there's a time and a place for a sloppy BJ. It's not on the football field. It's not at Lincoln Financial Field with the Bills defense coming opposite you. Not literally coming opposite you, but you get my point, all right? You get my point. So there needs to be some sort of intervention because we cannot keep having a sloppy BJ on the sideline. Save it for the locker room. If you want to get sloppy, save it for the locker room. But when we're out there, we want double guac twists and nothing short of, all right? We need absolute precision on that football field. Talking of bursting your bubble, someone's just bursted something there is all I'm saying. What part of London am I going to? Good question. I don't actually know. Do I? It's by Tower Bridge, that area. There's a Christmas market my girlfriend wants to go to there, so we've booked a little hotel thing. So yeah, if anyone's in London, Tower Bridge, I'll be walking about probably. She likes all the Christmas lights, so anything Christmassy, we're just going to take it. It's like Boo from Monsters Inc. Just let her run around and, I'm like Sully to watch her run around and show me everything. It'll be a great time. And I'll go to the NBA shop and I'll point at everything and be a good fun. Nothing with his playbook, it's the play calling. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, I'd say. It's probably 50-50. Some people... Isaac, you are 19 years old, young man, but there is a time and a place for a sloppy BJ, is all I'm saying. Pipe bombed himself. See, I did it in honor of the man himself, Eric. I think you might have missed it earlier, so I'll show you now. I've thrown that down. All I'm saying, in honor, we've got the UK one from Wembley, from All In. We've got it there in honor of the man himself. What a weekend that was. CM Punk comes back. Sloppy BJs and the Eagles. They just come everywhere in Philadelphia right now. It is tremendous. I've played running back. It's pretty funny. Retro Bowl. Have you ever played Retro Bowl on iPhone? Dude, I love Retro Bowl. I bought it on the Switch because I felt like it was just... I didn't want to let myself play it on my phone. I feel like I wanted the Switch version. And there's a college one, isn't there now as well? But yeah, I had it. I played it on holiday when when my girlfriend last went away, and I kind of gave her my Switch, and I took it back for a weekend. I just played Retro Bowl for like 2 hours on the flight. Was phenomenal. So yeah, big Retro Bowl fan. It's a lovely game. I just love the music. It's brilliant. I can listen to that all day. But then again, I'm the sort of nerd that will look out like 8-bit remixes of Taylor Swift Love Story on YouTube at 3 a.m. because I've got no life. So there's that, I guess. Man, them's chatting BJs and that. That's a true story. Take it to the Valley. See what I did try. Every time you've gone to London, Charlton have been playing away. So they're playing. Who is it they're playing? Like Gillingham, isn't it? I think they're playing Gillingham. So yeah, I did pitch it. I was like, "Do you fancy an away day to Gillingham?" She was like, "Where's that?" I said, "Don't worry." End of conversation. But yeah, so it is. It's maybe we'll go and have a look at it. I don't know, but we normally stay like in Greenwich for that reason because I'm like, it's a nice part of London. It's near the Valley. We can sometimes we've seen it. I've seen signs towards it. We've been in the back of an Uber and stuff. Yeah, I love it. We'll get her there eventually. Kylie's in. What a freighter as soon as you tune in. I would say, I promise it's not always like this. That would be disingenuous. So I'm sorry for that. But the game's the game. For anyone that doesn't know, Kylie is one of our newest writers at PSN covering the Philadelphia Phillies. Done an absolutely amazing job. I'm trying to remember her Twitter. I think it's BSP_Sully. I think. If you want to put it in the chat, Kylie, I'm sure a lot of other guys will follow you. Incredible. She's like a little wonder kid. I love getting wonder kids at PSN. It's my favorite part of the job. It's like finding people that are just like super talented, super passionate, and just want to throw themselves in and get involved. And Kylie is fit like a glove in PSN. She's the next wonder kid. She's our franchise quarterback. We'll be hanging her hat on for years to come, hopefully. Yeah, she's been amazing to bring on board. So yeah, make sure you say hello. Be lovely to Kylie and give her a follow. Although, to be fair, I accidentally called her Kyle the other day, so there is that by accident. Sorry again for that one. I'm going there for the Cheltenham game. Oh, tremendous. Yeah, I did try and get... It wasn't my week off. Obviously, I'm quite flexible. She, unfortunately, has set days with work, so we can only get the weekend off. It's usually worse than this. The man then fancies a proper BJ, innit? Exactly. All I'm saying is, look, okay, we'll pivot into... Because, we have females in it. We have to be polite now. I think this is what brings me to the Frank Reich discussion, doesn't it? It's what brings me to the discussion of should we bring him back, should we not? I think personally the dynamic would be weird. Like Sirianni has got a lot of adoration for that man, a lot of admiration for that man. But at the end of the day, Sirianni was like his offensive coordinator. So Frank Reich was the head coach of the Colts and Sirianni was... They might have even overlapped with the Chargers. I might be wrong. But I have to double check. I feel like they might have done and he would have been a wide receivers coach. But my point is that Sirianni has always been the junior figure in that coaching tree. And when you flip that and you've then got someone that you're just going to flip that dynamic and he becomes an advisor, it just might be a bit weird. It's different with someone like Vic Fangio, who didn't really have a previous affiliation to the Eagles until the fact they had like posters of him on their wall and they all loved him and wanted to bring him in. It was also different with what's the guy? Who did Jim Schwartz have? Didn't Jim Schwartz have a special advisor? I forgot his name now. Actually, I've genuinely forgotten. But anyway, you get what I mean. Anyway, the point I'm making is we've got to first try and work out what Frank Reich is being fired for. Is it because Frank Reich is a bad head coach? Is it because he's struggling as a head coach? Realistically, I've never seen a team like Carolina put so much into a quarterback and surround it with so little and do so little to change it. Like, I've never seen anyone just draft a quarterback the level of Bryce Young and then go, yeah, that'll do. Sorry, what? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, he'll do it. Well, no, he needs receivers. Yeah, DJ Moore will be all right. Running back? Yeah, Mel Sanders, he's great at something, probably. Defense? Nah, don't need defense. We'll score 4 points a game, be fine. I've never seen a team that bad. So, part of me thinks it's not really on Frank Reich this year. So, I'm willing to give him a pass. The Colts, I don't think he is. Look, I don't know. Maybe he's just not a good head coach. We know he's a good offensive coordinator. We know he's got a good offensive mind. We know he's open to being very creative. Obviously, he was one of the big innovators behind the Philly special. We know he's familiar with Sirianni. We know he's familiar with Philadelphia. It's a good fit from just having another voice in your ear. The problem is the dynamic of that room would change. Unless you're going to make a straight switch, it's going to annoy BJ. And the BJs will then get sloppier. Because you're then going to have this, like, it's like being on a performance review. Like, you've got someone then watching over your shoulder, like, oh, calling an outside zone, are we? I wouldn't be doing that. It's not my offense, Brian. No. You call it, Brian. You do it, Brian. And there'd just be a bit more like, do you know what I mean? Like friction, I guess. I'm all for having another mind there. And I know Frank Reich's beloved in Philadelphia. And I know that Sirianni looks up to him as a mentor. Having him around would be fun. But I do worry about either having too many chefs in the kitchen, a conflict of minds, I guess, and a power dynamic that... Look, I see Nick Sirianni like Tony Khan, okay? I see someone like... I'm trying to think of a better example. Ron Rivera is not the best, but you get what I mean? It's like a Vince McMahon, right? I don't see Nick Sirianni being able to bring on someone like Frank Reich and have that dynamic not be affected. It would feel a bit weird, you know? It's like if I went... It's like the equivalent, and this is no disrespect to Kylie. I'm hoping she's still watching. But if I just went, Kylie's come in to advise me on how to run PSN now. She's been here a week or two, but she's gonna run the whole thing now. I'd be like, oh, okay. But I've always managed her for a week. I mean, showing her how to do things. No, she's going to do it her way, and you're going to watch. Like, I'll be all for it, Kylie, by the way. I'll be all for it. But from an NFL perspective, I wonder how much that would play a role. But on that note, really quickly, she did put a Twitter. BSP said it, yeah. So make sure you give her a follow because she is a heck of a writer. She's incredibly knowledgeable about the Phillies, killing it with off-season content. So if you are a Phillies fan, make sure you sneak her a follow there. We need better competitions for her to get a BJ. BJ's bookie's favourite. Is he? No, he's not. Seriously? That'd be one sloppy hiring, wouldn't it? Good grief. Oh, that'd be horrendous. That's not even a handy at that point. That is... Oh, I mean, do it. Take it. Oh, no. No, that'd be really bad. Oh, I'd be so annoyed if Brian Johnson was hired by the bloody Panthers. Oh, I'd be so annoyed. I'd be gutted. Please do it. Please do it. Please do it. Please do it. Please. It's Kylie. Is it Kylie? Have I said it wrong? Oh, it is Kylie. What am I on about? Oh, it is. What? Even I can't read. Oh, it's because I read that. I'm sorry. I called it Kylie. It's because I read that comment. That's my fault. Brilliant. Well, that's gone well, isn't it? Liam, you're a brother and we love you, but don't ever use Sirianni and Rivera in the same sentence again. Now, I understand what we're saying, but I just meant from a seniority standpoint. Like, Rivera's got a bit more, I don't know what the word is, aura, I suppose, you know? Like, it'd be weird. It'd just be weird if Frank Reich comes back having previously been offensive coordinator, but now in a slightly reduced role. I'm trying to think of an example where that's happened before, like anywhere else in like life or football, wrestling, movies. It just feels weird. Like Sirianni's, it's his coach, it's his team. He doesn't need that. What he needs to do is take ownership of the fact that he has got a sloppy offensive coordinator. It has been a bit bollocks recently, and they can work through it. Whether it's rescinding play calling duties, whether it is, working together, giving him like passing game coordinator and doing what they did with Deuce Staley and delegating out the playbook in like half sort of thing. So someone does run game, someone does passing game. Whatever it is, do something. But I think bringing Frank Reich in on the back of being fired... Look, I don't know. Look, CM Punk went to WWE after he got fired. That seemed to work out for now. So maybe there is reasons behind the madness. But I understand why it'd be considered. I just wouldn't be really all in, if you pardon the pun. Yeah, like 9-1 or something. Like, wow. Okay. That is a bit wild. I wouldn't have pinned that anywhere, if I'm honest with you. That is the last person in the world I'd have pinned to be. Like, so you've got two former Eagles coaches that go to Carolina. It goes tits up. And they go, keep the conveyor belt moving. Just bring in the next one. Yeah, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Yeah. Brian Johnson's up next. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Rivera's ready for the dog track. Riverboat Ron, what a man. Rivera's what we call more experienced. Exactly. I mean, there are others. All right, Mike Tomlin's a better example. Someone like Mike Tomlin, like veteran, assertive. I don't know if Sirianni is assertive in the same way I don't know I'm assertive. I can be. I bloody well can. I'll tell you that for free. But like as a boss, it's not my chosen method of when it has to be done. Oh, you have to be assertive. But like it's not my chosen method of communication. And I feel like Sirianni's the same way. So having someone that is then a senior or that was your senior that then is now your equal, it's just a weird dynamic, I think. So it's something to keep an eye on, I guess, anyway. But we are approaching the end of the show, guys. Have you got any more questions for me before we hang out the boots for tonight? Do let me know. Obviously, we'll be back on Wednesday for another version of the Outside Insider. If you want to stick around, subscribe, just so you get those beautiful notifications for our lovely thumbnails, that would be amazing. If not, no worries. I won't take it too personally. But if you could leave a like on the stream, that would be outstanding. I think we've had like 5 likes on Facebook. We have. Corey's been in. I can see who's liked on Facebook. That's cool. All right. So if is anyone watching on Facebook? No, I won't shout them out. But Sean Webb, Corey Nido, Jabari Brown, Dave Kuda, and Phil Stifle. I've never heard of that Phil Stifle fella. Sounds all right, though, doesn't he? Maybe I'll bring him to PSN. Who's to say? Sounds like a nice young man, I think. Bet he's got a hell of a beard. You and I both know Johnson's going nowhere anytime soon. Oh, I know, but I'm Delulu, and sometimes you have to talk yourself into these things. Yeah, sometimes you have to hope that he gets poached by someone. What's great about these streams, we go from celebrating the Eagles win to somehow talking about Harley. Look, I think it's a, I don't know. I look at anything like that, though, because I can only relate to my own experiences, right? And being someone that's young and runs a company, I try and give variety. Like, you know, I try and make it. I know I've got a bit of a unique insight in running a company from a million miles away to, you know, selling it and then doing the streams and it being like 4 a.m. Like, I know it's all a bit weird. So anytime I can kind of just share that experience and make it relatable, I definitely will. But being like, I'm only 28 and there are definitely challenges I've had running a company, especially with people that are older than me. And that's not, again, nothing bad or anything, but it just is when people are older or people that are more senior, like there is naturally, sometimes they don't like hearing, no one in particular, no one at PSN, put it that way. But other areas sometimes aren't as open to ideas and stuff sometimes because you're a bit younger. I think it's because of that. Just because it's like, well, what does he know? He hasn't been here before. And I'm not even just saying like with PSN, but I mean like in previous jobs. And when you've been, I played sport briefly, when I played basketball a bit for a trial, like just little things through life that when you are younger, sometimes people that are older than you just don't. It's a respect thing, and I like to think it's different in the NFL with Frank Reich as a coach. But you know, I was a manager at Apple for near enough a year. I was in the actual Apple store for 2 years. But even there, I got blackballed a bit, and because they felt like my intents were elsewhere with PSN, but also that I was younger, I was on a different contract, and it didn't matter what I did or how hard I worked to change those perceptions, that you wouldn't, because there was a pre-built notion. So I just wonder if they're used to that dynamic of Frank Reich being the senior to Nick Sirianni, and even now he's had 2 years worth of being a head coach. More than that, I think he's been 4 years now, isn't it? He was 3 years with the Colts. I just wonder if, he probably needs some time away in the same way Jim Schwartz did, is all I'm saying. I don't think going from being a head coach to being fired to then joining another team in a week, moving across country in a reduced role to someone that used to be beneath you that is now above you can just be confusing. I just think, look, maybe I'm waffling. Maybe I'm absolutely waffling. But as Isaac says, sometimes being Delulu is the only Salulu. That is the best comment I've heard all night. That is absolutely tremendous. I'll be pinching that one and using it from here on out. Sometimes being Delulu is the only Salulu. That is your quote for the day, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, I would like to bid you all adieu. Thank you to Duck there for the kind words. I appreciate that, man. Incredibly kind of you. And again, none of it is here without you guys. None of that success happens without you all tuning into these streams, reading the articles, interacting with us the way you do. I mean, even K1, special shout, bless him, missed the stream the other day. Also, really quickly there, I didn't know until last week that the term bless you is seen as bad in America. In England, it's seen as like, oh, bless you, like, oh, sweet. And in America, it's seen as something like really bad, apparently. It's quite offensive. So I didn't mean to offend you if I did just say that, K1. But, oh, sweet, K1. Like, missed the stream, watched the entire thing back as an upload and commented his opinions throughout each segment. And I almost shed a tear. It's the most wholesome thing ever. What a man. That is amazing. That is absolutely phenomenal. So there is an MVP of the week. It goes to K1 because that is sheer dedication. You're not waffling. It makes perfect sense. I'm just being selfish because I don't want BJ to screw this year up. Look, we all want good BJs, all right? I hope he's got a good BJ in the tank. I don't like, again, a time and a place for sloppy ones. We're past that right now. But bless you's what you say after a sneeze. Yeah, but in England, it's like, oh, bless you. Like, if you do something cute with someone or sweet, it's like, oh, bless. So, like, I've got to stop. I'm trying to iron out of my vocabulary now because I've said it to so many people and they must have think like I'm being passive-aggressive with them or something. So I'm hoping that that's not the case. But, guys, bless you is seen as bad by kids who get better. Oh, okay. Fair enough. On that note, guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. It's been amazing to recap this Eagles win 10-1 on the season. We'll be back on Wednesday to go over some Jake Elliott superiority tweets and stats and to see just how well he does with stacking up against David Akers, because there's definitely an argument to be made. He's the best Eagles kicker of all time. If not now, he certainly will be. So we're going to get into that. Will be some sexy graphics up. We'll talk a little bit about the 49ers. And whatever Eagles storylines develop between now and 6 p.m. on Wednesday, where you can next catch us. So if you want to make sure you're tuning into that, hit the subscribe button so you get those notifications on so you know when we go live. But I will see you 6 p.m. Wednesday for the Outside Insider. Have a fantastic evening. Enjoy Monday Night Football. And before we go, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eric. Happy birthday to you. Woo! And I've ruined it. I've ruined his birthday. See you later, guys. Take care. Go Birds. Happy birthday, Eric. I will see you all on Wednesday for the Outside Insider.